Each month, $3 supporters at Patreon and Subscribestar get to ask me anything, and $5 supporters can give me a shout out. So let's look at the questions supporters asked in January, and if you'd like to ask a question for this month, the links are below. Let's start out with a shout out from Tomasz Urbański. Personal plug that might interest Europeans who watch you. My local kenjutsu training group is organizing seminar in May this year. I'm not even gonna try to read the rest of that, as there's no way I can even begin to pronounce it. So I'll just tell you to check it out using the links below if you're a European interested in whatever that is. Okay, let's schlep on over to Patreon, where Michael Kremer asks, do you think the police and military are overly romanticized in media? Without a doubt. The heroes always seem to be soldiers, politicians, and law enforcement. The villains always seem to be scientists, entrepreneurs, and financiers. The military is honorable, while the business executives are psychopaths, when it's almost always the other way around. They glorify those whose tools are violence and brutality, and vilify those who trade with others to make their lives better. It's completely sick and twisted. And it would be an absolute joke if these people didn't have political power, wanting to do things like ban guns, because it's always other people who are violent. It's pathological. Darth Vega asks, what are your thoughts on climate change? Is it real? Is it a problem? How should we fix it? Yeah, it's real, and it's a problem. I'm not yelling the sky is falling or anything like that, but it's a legitimate cause for concern. We're spewing a lot of CO2 into the atmosphere, and it'd really be great if we stopped doing that. And I don't see how there's going to be any effective solution without making nuclear energy the foundation of our power generation. Converting to electric cars will do nothing if we're just burning coal and oil. And I'm sorry, but solar and wind just aren't up to the job. I have a number of videos on this. See my nuclear power playlist. And finally, Sid Padmanaban asks, I had a discussion with the same friend who inspired that question about zoning I asked a while back, don't remember when. He argued that capitalism was a big driver of pollution. I responded by saying countries with free markets tend to have better environmental scores, which he conceded was true, but claimed it was only because wealthy countries and companies in them export their pollution to third world and developing countries, as well as exploit their resources. What's the best rebuttal to this? Well, the first thing to do is point him to the Kuznets curve. Second, get him to explain exactly what he means by exporting pollution. This is one of those gotcha catchphrases they come up with to dismiss the facts. It doesn't actually mean anything. Just like I've repeatedly pointed out with the word exploit, which you'll notice he also uses. When you force them to make an actual argument, what they'll tend to say is that, by moving factories overseas, the factory pollutes in a way that it wouldn't be allowed to in the US. But let's call that process what it is: free trade. Third world countries are following the Kuznets curve just like we are. They're just still on the upswing part of it. But the best thing to do about that is to keep trading with them so their countries can develop and they can get to that part of the curve where it starts dropping. Those factories aren't causing the country to have such pollution. It's the point on the Kuznets curve that's doing that. But as more and more such factories get built, the country gets more and more developed and closer to the tipping point where their pollution will start to go down again. So, once again, their so-called solution is to stop the real solution from happening. And instead, they'll push for more socialism, which is by far the most polluting political system on the planet. And that'll do it for another round of questions. Thank you so very much for watching. Until next month, comments for the comment god, shares for the share throne. Please hit like, subscribe, and the bell, and go to donate.bogosity.tv to keep me doing what I do. Thanks again, and until next time, stay strong and be free.